This episode is brought to you by LifeLock. The holidays mean more travel, more shopping, more time online, and more personal info in places that could expose you to identity theft. That's why LifeLock monitors millions of data points every second. If your identity is stolen, their US-based restoration specialist will fix it, guaranteed or your money back. Get more holiday fun and less holiday worry with LifeLock. Save up to 40% your first year. Visit LifeLock.com/podcast. Terms apply.
This episode is brought to you by Amazon Prime. There's nothing sweeter than baking cookies during the holidays. With Prime, I get all my ingredients delivered right to my door, fast and free, no last-minute store trips needed. And of course, I blast my favorite holiday playlist on Amazon Music. It's the ultimate soundtrack for creating unforgettable memories. From streaming to shopping, it's on Prime. Visit Amazon.com/Prime to get more out of whatever you're into.
Hi, everybody, and welcome to the Dr. Psych Mom Show. Today, I'm going to talk about something that may be a huge eye-opener for a lot of couples, which is that responsive desire only kicks in if you're enthusiastic about your female partner. And I realized from some interactions online that some guys were really misunderstanding the concept of responsive desire in a way that I had not really foreseen. So I want to really clarify this so that nobody else gets hurt, by this misunderstanding. This potentially not fatal, but injurious misunderstanding. Okay, and before that, please do subscribe. As always, you get over 180 extra episodes, about, 10, 15 minutes each. If you subscribe, most cost-effective way to learn about relationships, in my opinion, and just really entertaining too. I know I'm biased, and I have heard that from other people that are not myself. Okay, so responsive desire definitely is the type of desire that women feel within monogamy primarily. I've discussed this into the ground, except around ovulation. Maybe she sees some hot dude at the gym or she reads a steamy romance novel. Then it'll be spontaneous, but it isn't even spontaneous then because she did see something that was stimulation. So just feeling horny just because the wind blows from the south, is just not how women are within monogamy after a certain age. Again, unless they're ovulating, their body is telling them to make a baby. Okay, everybody seems to have gotten that so far. Now, some guys really like my idea, not my idea, certainly didn't come up with it, the idea of responsive desire. And they say, okay, cool. So I'm going to touch her. I get it that she needs stimulation. She's older. She needs foreplay, etc. Younger people need foreplay too, by the way, for it to be better, but can be penetrated easily because they are young, pliable, wet mammals. As I always talk about, a young mammal has a different kind of body than an older mammal of any species. And anywho, so they're like, okay, cool. So I'm going to execute the foreplay, I'm going to do that. And then she's going to do something cool, right? I mean, this is like you program the device, you program in your sex robot, and then it's going to do something, right? So the programming is the foreplay. And then I'm going to get to have the kind of sex I really want, right? No, because you're forgetting something. There's a woman there. This is not, in fact, a sex robot. So there's some guys that are thinking that responsive desire, this is not all guys, and I will clarify, but there's some guys who think that responsive desire is like a way out of, it's like a loophole if you do not really feel attracted to your wife and you do not really desire her and you're not really that turned on by her. But you could be if she did maybe a bunch of crazy shit in bed. I mean, that would certainly be better, right? Not going to turn that down. Then maybe you'll get that if you turn her on physically for longer or in some sort of specific way. This doesn't work. Women can pick up on, and if you just want sex versus if you want to connect to them. Most guys find their wife very attractive and desirable, even if she gained 10, 15 pounds since they met, whatever, and she looks older. they don't care. They do want to connect with her. They do find her really attractive still. They're attracted to her. They desire her. And they want to show their love via sex. However, that's not all guys, right? That's more of the securely attached fellows. And some of the preoccupied attached fellows, although those guys also want sex as validation that they are attractive, which she could also pick up on. But the avoidant guys, if an avoidant guy is not really into his wife anymore, and these are the guys, by the way, that'll complain about the 10, 15 pounds. These are the guys, like I have a podcast on a guy who wouldn't call his wife beautiful because she was fat. And I really gave him some tough love. So you should go find that podcast. You can always find the podcast that I say by using one of the title words and putting it into the search bar of the Spotify app within the Dr. Psych Mom Show. So you go to Dr. Psych Mom Show on Spotify. Although you could listen to it on Apple and everywhere else, you got to search. I don't know how Apple works. So go on to Spotify search bar and type in, for example, beautiful, and you'll get that podcast. It's just a PSA. But anyway, so there's some guys who are more avoidant. And remember, most insecurely attached guys are not preoccupied, despite what you may think on the internet, but avoidant. And so the avoidant guys, if they're not that attracted to their wife, they just want to fuck. Like, that is what it is. They just want to have good sex that is like somewhat like porny and exciting. And they, like they're not that into her, but maybe if she like jumped around a little more in bed, then they could be, at least for that night. And the woman picks up on that. She doesn't, these are the women that say he just wants sex. He does just want to get off. He does. It isn't what you say, and women see this all the time on, my internet comments. They'll be like, no, you don't get it. My husband isn't like these guys that you say they want love, they want to connect. My husband just wants to get off. You don't get it. He just wants to get off. And I do get it. This is a minority of men. Because remember, it's not all the avoidantly attached men. Because you have to have two things. You have to have an avoidant attachment man, and he has to not be attracted to his wife. So that is a smaller, although obviously there's still millions of people, but it's a smaller subset of like everybody, But the avoidant guys are less likely to connect in general during sex. But at the beginning, in the honeymoon stage, they are more romantic. Just like women are more sexual in the honeymoon phase, men are more romantic. And of course, that includes avoidant men as well. And so, but by this point, if they're bored, they're not too into the wife, these are the same guys who cheat, by the way. These are the same guys who cheat. They use a lot of porn. They like stimulation. They don't like to connect that much. If she doesn't look hot anymore, they kind of consider it almost a personal affront, like, Jesus Christ, get yourself together. These are the guys who are the best shape of my life guys, the age is just a number guys, the I'm going to spend 12 hours in the gym per day guys, and, or they may just not do that, but they still think that they deserve to have a hotter woman. And they think that if they run the responsive desire algorithm on their less than appealing, less than exciting wife, she's going to turn into a wildcat in bed. She's not, because she picks up on that you don't desire her. There's these guys that want like a profound transformational sexual response from a woman that they're not that into. Why? Like, how could that happen if she has even a little bit, a tiny spine, a tiny little worm of self-esteem? She's going to pick up on that you're not that into her, and she's going to want to self-protect. Why would she be incredibly sexually vulnerable with a man that isn't really that into her? That isn't looking at her with lust, that isn't looking at her with love and lust, not just lust, but love and lust and desire for her as a woman and her body and her mind and the whole thing. If your husband's not in love with you, why would you be like that? You're not going to have the best sex of your life with him. When you talk to women about what was the best sex of your life, it's with somebody where they have this incredible connection. Now that could be a one night connection too, but usually it's more than that. And you meant more nights than that. And it's this person that desires them so much. He doesn't have to know everything about them if it's like a shorter relationship, but what he sees, what he does know and see, he loves. And he finds her delightful and like it's like his birthday, to be with her. And so the point being that there are some guys that are trying to just physically touch their wife. And so some of my guys with the massage. So I'll be like, all right, massage your wife. And so some of them massage their wife. But if they are doing it in a way that the woman thinks he's trying to just activate the body, almost like, your sex robot requires that you rub it on its back for 5 minutes before it turns on. If it comes off like that, it's not going to work. It has to be with love and care and desire. And if you are trying to run the responsive desire algorithm on your wife, if you're trying to enact responsive desire so that you can be more stimulated by a woman that in her core isn't stimulating to you without the preferred sex act, then she will obviously curl inward, like a snail retreating into its shell. And whether or not she can have the required orgasm or she can go into a couple positions, she will not feel vulnerable. She will not feel good. It will not be a wonderful sexual experience for her. And then in a vicious cycle, you'll end up thinking she's boring in bed, not that hot anymore, and boring in bed. Jesus Christ, how much weight does a guy gotta lift in this joint to get a hot, responsive woman like the ones I see in porn? And it's infinity because it isn't it's like trying to divide a number by 0. It doesn't exist. There is no way for your wife to turn into something hotter by virtue of doing more sex acts when you do not already find her lovable and desirable. It's just the truth. And this could be a huge epiphany. You should allow it to be if it is. You should let it wash over you, This idea that if you are not engaging with enthusiasm, it's so ironic because so many guys are engaging in completely unenthusiastic, forced foreplay in which they are basically enacting a porn scene that they saw, and it's all about them. They are into basically almost like that American Psycho scene where he's looking at himself in the mirror during sex. It's like that, but they're thinking, here I am being like a sexy, good husband. And so many women would want to be with a smoldering hot man like me. And here I am even doing foreplay. Holy shit, am I hot or what, And meanwhile, it's so obvious to the woman that he's in his own world. He's not connecting with her. He's not talking about her. He's not thinking about her. He's not in love with her. And so then she never opens up to him, because she can't, because she shouldn't. Because truly she shouldn't. Because picture your daughter, right? It's always very good for men to picture their daughter or any woman that you love wholeheartedly, like maybe your sister, something that's unconditional. If you have none, that's a problem. Go to therapy, talk about that. But anyway, your mother, anybody, picture them going on a date with a man that acted kind of not really into them the whole time. And then at the end, he tries to kiss them. Would you think that your preferred replacement female that you have empathy for, would you think that that person should kiss back in a very turned on and happy and loving kind of way? No. If your daughter's prom date just kind of was phoning it in the whole time, mostly was talking to his friends, danced with her, but was looking around the room at the hotter girls, you wouldn't want her to kiss him at the end of the night. Come on. So that's what it's like for women when they are with this more avoidant kind of guy who's really just trying to use responsive desire to get what he wants out of her because she's not enough for him without being at this higher level of sexual, adventurousness, which she ironically and definitionally cannot get to if she does not feel safe and loved for who she is. All right, it's an epiphany. Let it wash over you. If it resonated with you, if you're a woman listening to this, it may clear a lot of shit up for you, honestly. And if you're a man listening to it, really be real with yourself. Do I make clear to my wife that my desire is about her? When's the last time that I told her how important she is to me? And if you don't really feel like, if you're not really that into your wife, then you need to be talking about that in individual therapy or coaching, not couples, right? Because that's hurtful. Nobody deserves to hear that. I talk about that all the time with my podcast, like when you've never been attracted to your spouse. If it's the truth that you really find your spouse to be subpar and you kind of fantasize about a life without them all the time, you don't really think they are that desirable or lovable or appealing, well, shit. Don't you want to let them go find somebody who would? They only do have this one life, and everybody deserves to be with somebody that finds them to be wonderful. All right. Hope this was a useful episode for many, and I'll talk to you all soon, guys. Thanks for listening.